The Morgan Report with David Morgan.
David Morgan of themorganreport.com. It is Friday, the 25th of February, 2022. And I'm going to start with Wolf Richter's wonderful work. I read him quite often, and he has a lot to say, and he does it in a concise way, in my view. So this is what he wrote yesterday. In brutal volatility, gold and oil sag after a spike. 10-year yield jumps after the plunge. NASDAQ spikes after the dive, and the Fed can focus on tightening. I'll just summarize this really quickly because it's going to touch all the markets, stocks, oil, the metals. So the NASDAQ was off 3.5%, and then, of course, it does this miraculous turnaround, and it was 7% turnaround from the open to the spike close. S&P similar, Dow similar, Russell 2000. Cryptos were nearly in lockstep with the stock market, and that's something that some don't know, that they're pretty highly correlated. And then crude, West Texas Intermediate front month went over $100 overnight, fell back to 93. The oil market is really one to watch. All of them are, of course, but there is a correlation between the precious metals and oil. It isn't one for one. It isn't day to day, but over the longer term, you'll see, of course, the 10-year Treasury, we all have our eyes on that, plunged 15 basis points overnight to 1.85%, which is a yield in the morning, classic fear trade, but then began working its way back up and is currently back at almost 2%, as if nothing happened. Thank you, Wolf. I like that. Gold and silver are way up and then back down. Pretty interesting to watch all of these markets do these U-turns. He talks about the dip buyers, the fear trade getting unwound. The Fed's tightening moves will already be too little, too late, and too slow, and they haven't even started. To rein in the inflation monster that the Fed's long series of policy errors over the past 23 months have unleashed. The last thing the Fed needs is another distraction, such as panicky markets, for crying out loud. And it got what it needed to stay on track. So I would just add to this. This is not Wolf, it's me, but I put this out on, I think, my LinkedIn, that it shows the Working Group on Financial Markets doing their job, also known as the Plunge Protection Team. I mean, you don't get those kind of U-turns across the board, especially in very highly correlated and uncorrelated markets like gold to the stock market, for example. Everything opened basically based on reality, and it closed based on intervention. Those are my words again, not Wolf. Thank you, Wolf, for the great article used for my weekly perspective. Don't forget to sign up for his information there, and of course you can also tip him there. So I'll leave it at that. So this is from my blog. I've gone to the blog tab and then scrolled and hit the latest in the Crypto Conspiracy podcast, and this is with Michael McKibben. Fascinating interview. I've gotten a lot of feedback on this. Many people are enjoying this. You can read a bit of the summary here and, of course, watch it here. But he has a lot to say about what he did early on in the tech sector, especially with email, way back in the AOL days where they were mailing these floppy disks around, if you remember that. I do. I'm old enough. And what has taken place with patents that he holds and how far he went in his legal battle with Facebook. So there's a lot to this one. You don't have to watch them all. If you're going to watch the Crypto Conspiracy and you see there's 19, you go, I haven't got the time. I would suggest you look at, I think it's number 4, but it's the Epstein connection to Bitcoin. That's extremely important to understand. Number 14 was Kurt Wuckert, which is very, very important to understand how the whole Bitcoin thing has basically been hijacked by primarily MasterCard. John Perez and I say John because I'm just interviewing him. Most of the ideas are his, not all. That, it's been usurped, it's been taken over. And we did that as a conjecture, but Kurt basically backed us up and made it very solid and put out all the data to do it. In fact, someone on the legal side of the Load project, which I'll get to in a minute, very neutral. In other words, give me the data, let me discover for myself. Here's what we found. You go verify it. And he did, and he verified it all. And he kind of said, wow, that's pretty important information, and it all checks out. So, and that was on number 14. I'm not saying everyone is absolutely perfect. We're humans. I'm sure I misspoke a time or two or three, but nonetheless, none of that's deliberate. I'm just trying to get the information to you so you can make up your own darn mind what you want to do with whatever your asset classes are. So here we are on the blog post, and the one I just showed you was by clicking this a couple of times. But over here on the right side, there's used to be called a silver savings program. I still have it on there. This is really good for stackers. It's basically a dollar cost averaging program. You buy into commercial bars, both gold or silver, and then when you cash out, you do have to pay the premium like anyone else does on silver round, silver bar, silver government sovereign coin like a Maple or a Liberty or whatever. So, but it's a good way to accumulate. I used to really push it a bit hard because I really thought that you could buy silver near spot, and then when the premiums came back down, you'd be able to kind of choose a good spot and cash out. So you're buying it pretty close to spot, and then when you cash out, the premiums are reasonable. But honestly, the premiums are just as high across the board. There are very few that can offer very low premiums unless you're buying in large size. If you're buying in the 100,000 range, then you can contact me through our website and I can help you out. But anything in the normal retail sector, you're going to have to pay what the market's asking or not. I want to drop down here to the load project. If you just click there, it'll bring you here. And we are constructing the digital money of the future. Of course, it's the money of the past, gold and silver. It's focused on silver primarily at the beginning. Now it's both. And if you scroll down, pretty simple website right now. Highly recommend you watch this Imagine video. I think it's only a minute and a half long. Kind of gives you the overview of what the project is about and what it intends to do. And we do have, and are still developing, one of the best wallets out there as far as I'm concerned. And I've seen a few, seen more than a few. So there's a lot to it. You could, get involved. This Get Started is a little too direct. It's, you watch the video. If you click the Get Started, it's going to ask right away. And it's kind of an in your face, well, I don't really want all this. Now, you could sign up, but I suggest that you do. Create an account, and you could create an account without any purchase whatsoever, or as Richie from Boston would say, whatsoever at all. In other words, all you have to do is, and when you do this, you'll be on the mailing list. So again, there's no obligation for filling this out. And if you contribute to the load side, in other words, the monetary mass, you are KYC'd, but you're KYC'd on almost any platform. If you go to a Coinbase or one of these people that give you access to be able to buy and sell crypto. So same thing here, only it's not done through a Coinbase, it's done directly with Load. I could go on and on today there's so much happening, as you all know. I'm not even going to talk about the war on this weekly perspective. I will talk about what's happened in Canada on the financial side with these freezing of accounts for people that purportedly gave money to the Freedom Convoy. This is straight from the Wall Street Journal, and this is Canada instructs banks to unfreeze Freedom Convoy accounts. So there is pushback on this. This one from the Daily Mail. And that's good. Trudeau's government orders Canadian banks to unfreeze bank accounts of people who participated in or donated to the Freedom Convoy after woke leader was condemned for authoritarian behavior. Most of you watching this are probably aware of what that means. And it is my understanding, so I'm going to leave myself an out. There's so much to follow, that the emergency powers have not gone away, but they are, again, as I just showed you, two headlines, unfreezing this the bank account situation. But so much to talk about. I'll be, writing the Morgan Report here this weekend and next week and put it out a week from today for everyone. We'll be touching more geopolitics than I usually write because that's really what the news is about. So I'll leave it there. This is David Morgan with themorganreport.com.